Hello everyone, it's Becca from Becca Books and Bujo, and today I'm very excited to be starting a new series where I read my favorite booktubers' favorite reads of 2022. To prep for these new series of videos, I scoured my favorite YouTubers' videos. And they had posted their favorites of 2022, and I wrote down their list of books and then cross-referenced that with my want to read list. That was my one stipulation. I didn't want to read books that weren't already on my want to read list because my want to read list is already huge, and it's a goal of mine to lower that number, especially on Goodreads. So I went through my favorite booktubers' favorites and picked books that were already on my list that sounded good to me and made a list of, I think there's like 14 books, but then I separated those out into different categories, and I'm going to make this 4-video series for you. I don't know how frequently these videos will come out. It'll depend on how quickly I can read the books, but I'm very excited to start out this journey. Sorry, my dog just made a huge yawn in my face and it smelled really bad. Anyway, at the end of these 4 videos, I hope to crown my favorite book of my favorite booktubers' favorites. Say that 5 times fast. But this very first video that I am introducing to you today is memoirs. So, well, memoirs and essays, but I'm going to count the essays one as a memoir. Nonfiction, I'm just going to call them all memoirs. Okay, so I will just quickly tell you about the titles, which booktuber I got them from, and then we'll start reading. Let's just start with this one that I have on top here. This one is called I'll Show Myself Out, Essays on Midlife and Motherhood by Jessie Klein. This one I got from Jenny King, obviously here on YouTube. She and I feel like we have very similar reading taste. She is much more into reading nonfiction, I think, than I am. And so when I saw this one on her list, I decided I should go for it. First of all, because we have children, very similar ages. Hers, I think, is just a few months younger than my Theodore. And she said it was very poignant in her life right now as the mother of an almost 3-year-old. And this one seems like it's just the reality of being a mom nowadays and how it is difficult, and you do hard things and you have to try to teach your kids about the hard world that we live in, and it just sounds like really fun essays about humility, the humility of motherhood. So this one is from Jenny, and I'm really excited to give it a try. I haven't read many essay collections, and so I think that this will be good for me because I could, read an essay here or there, maybe jump into my other memoirs, and yeah, this should be good. Okay, the next one. I'm so excited to read because I really wanted to read it all last year and then never got around to it. And that is I'm Glad My Mom Died by Jennette McCurdy. Jennette McCurdy is a childhood star from Nickelodeon. She was Sam on iCarly, and I really enjoyed that show. I watched iCarly all the time. And what we didn't know about Jennette McCurdy's life is that she had this mother who basically forced acting on her, and in turn forced a bunch of uncomfortable situations on her. Being a child star in a famous TV show, I guess, has its downfalls, but then also Jennette McCurdy struggled with an eating disorder, which I think, from what I've heard, she blames a lot on her mom. So I did not tell you whose favorite this was. I know a lot of people loved this book, but one of my favorite booktubers is Kara from Kara's Bookshelf. She lives here in Minnesota and she has great content. I will link all of these YouTubers' channels down below, but I am always so excited to watch her videos when she comes out with something new. She is innovative and comes out with just hilarious stuff. So this one was a recommendation from her, one of her, I think her like second most favorite book of the entire year. And so I am very excited to read this one. Also, I picked up this copy super cheap from Sam's Club very recently, but I plan on listening to it because the author reads it herself. So that is the second memoir. And then the third one, which also was on my radar before I saw it on a Booktubers favorite list, but that is Finding Me by Viola Davis. This recommendation comes from Noelle Gallagher, and it was just in her like top books of 2022. And I don't know much about Viola Davis, but I know she's an actress, and it just looks like we look into her life and how she finds who she is. Was she in How to Get Away with Murder? Man, I'm terrible that I don't even know what this actress is in, but I've just heard that it's a really powerful story about being a Black woman in the industry and learning to love herself for who she is. But I feel terrible that I don't know. I think she got famous from How to Get Away with Murder. Am I thinking of the right person? I really want to find the answer for you. Oh, I just saw The Color Purple reference. I'm reading The Color Purple right now, so that's awesome. Another The Color Purple reference. I'm really glad that I'm reading The Color Purple right before I read this book. I guess instead of scouring through the book, I will just look it up on this thing called the internet. Okay, I was right. She's in How to Get Away with Murder. Did it. She's also in The Help, which is great because The Help is on my These Books Will Self-Destruct for the year. So maybe reading her memoir will want me to read The Help. I know that she was in the movie and this is the book, but my dogs are going crazy, so that means I obviously need to wrap this up. So these are the three memoirs I'll be reading in this video from Jenny, Tara, and Noelle. And we will see which booktuber reigns supreme out of the memoir category. Let's jump into the first book. Hello everyone. I am about to start my very first book for this vlog. And I'm needing a new audiobook. I just finished one last night, and none of the books I want to try to finish quick before the end of the month, because it's January when I'm filming this, have an audiobook. And so I looked around, and I'll Show Myself Out by Jessie Klein. Jessie Klein. Oh shoot. I've been saying Jessie Klein. Jessie Klein has an audiobook on Scribd. So I can immediately start it. I am just gonna go run some errands for work, and I needed something to listen to. I'm caught up on my podcasts. I don't have an audiobook going, so I needed to start something. And so we're gonna start it out. I hope it'll be okay on audio. I don't know if it's the author reading it. We'll see. But it's essays, I believe. So hopefully it'll be good to listen to. And I'll probably check up with you quarter-way mark, halfway mark. We'll see. I finished the first essay on my little errand run at lunchtime, and I just want to let you know two things. First, it is read by Jessie Klein herself, so that's really great to hear her words coming straight from her mouth. And secondly, I'm really gonna like it. This first essay is all about moms being heroes, and the reason that moms are heroes are not because of what they do on the daily for their kids, but because they stay and keep doing those things when like your first instinct should be leave, run away, because it is the hardest job one will ever do, being a mom. You give everything of yourself and everything you have to your kids, and I don't think people can understand that unless they're a mom. That's why I think this book worked so well for Jenny. Jenny has a 2.5, almost 3-year-old son, just like me. And so I think because she loved it so much, I will love it so much. And also Jessie, the author of this book, has a 2.5-year-old son. So that's why I think it worked for Jenny and why it will likely work for me. But like I said, now I'm not going to jump back on here and give you an update unless there's like a super good essay or something that I want to tell you about. But I will probably let you know how I'm doing around the halfway mark. But the first essay was a winner. I am about 2/3 of the way through this and just really enjoying it. Jessie Klein is writing great essays about her life, and for some reason I can relate to every single one of the stories she's telling. I don't know if it's the phase of motherhood she was in while she wrote this and the phase of motherhood I'm in right now, or just motherhood in general, but I think the biggest thing that I'm enjoying is she talks about motherhood being lonely. Motherhood is a very lonely job for some reason, and I think it's because moms don't think that they can share their hardships with other moms because they want to pretend that they're the best moms out there. But if we can just agree that motherhood is difficult and children are difficult, and if we can confide in each other a little bit about the horrible things our kids do sometimes, it would just make motherhood more normal, more normalized, and less lonely. So I'm appreciating that she is getting her stories out there, and it'll make me be more likely to share some motherhood stories with other moms my age and who have kids my age. So I have like an hour and a half left of the audiobook. I might finish it tonight or tomorrow, we will see, but I will give you an update once I do. I have finished I'll Show Myself Out by Jessie Klein, and it was a really good collection of essays about motherhood. I completely understand why it was one of Jenny's favorite books. Jenny and I are in very similar stages of life right now with young children. She only has one child. I have two, but my oldest and her child are about the same age, and both boys, and I think boy moms are a little bit different. Just that, I don't know, boys are rough and ready to get into trouble. Not that girls can't do that either, but I don't know. I feel like boys are a different pill to swallow sometimes. Anyway, Jessie Klein also has a boy, Asher, and she writes about the various things that he gets into, that she gets into as a mom, and how motherhood is very difficult. The most difficult job anyone will ever have, and how it can be pretty lonely. But if we normalize talking about some of the difficult things about being mom, like sometimes you want to hurt your kid, or sometimes you want to lock yourself in a bathroom by yourself and eat Oreos, or just have some alone time. If we can normalize talking about those things, then we can feel a little less lonely. So I really enjoyed my time with this collection of essays. I ended up giving it 4 stars. And now we'll get on to the next book. I was gonna go to bed, but then I saw this. A pile of clean clothes on my bed, so I can't get into my bed. So I'm gonna start listening to my next book for the Memoir Booktubers favorites. And this was Kara's favorite, but I know it was on a lot of other people's favorites for the year. And so I'll be starting I'm Glad My Mom Died by Jeanette McCurdy. Really looking forward to it. I hear it is a heartbreaking story about a mother who exploits her daughter's body for acting in a Nickelodeon show, and basically abuses her both mentally and physically. Yeah, so I know it's maybe not the happiest book to start, but I've heard it's phenomenal. So I'm ready to listen to it, ready to hear the words straight from Jeanette McCurdy's mouth as I fold laundry. And I will let you know how I'm doing probably halfway through. Hi everyone, sorry for the lighting, but it's dark and we're setting the mood to try to get Theodore to sleep. I'm taking a video, buddy. Oh, you want to show?
No, I want to call Grandma and Grandpa.
Okay, we'll call Grandma and Grandpa after this. I am more than halfway through I'm Glad My Mom Died by Jeanette McCurdy, and it just makes me so sad. This poor girl was manipulated and abused by her mother, and her mom didn't see anything wrong with it, and Jeanette didn't see anything wrong with it. Jeanette thought she was wrong and did everything she could to try to appease her mom and prove to her mom that she was worthy, and it just, it makes my heart hurt as a mom. I don't know how I could ever do that. to my child, but obviously her mom was mentally ill and was projecting herself onto Jeanette. The part that really got me is like how Jeanette's eating disorder started and like her mom enforced it. It just was yucky. It is purple. Very good. So anyway, I am enjoying it, but it's hard to say that I'm enjoying such a sad story. I give Jeanette props for sharing this story because obviously it had to have been difficult to relive all of these memories. But yeah, I'm really enjoying it. I'm almost to after, so she splits this book into before her mom died and after her mom died. So I'm like literally 5 pages away from after. So we will see the aftermath of how her mother dies affects her. So yay for another good memoir. I apologize for my appearance, but this is real life. After a long day, I just put my hair up and put on a cozy sweatshirt. So I wanted to update you that I finished I'm Glad My Mom Died by Jeanette McCurdy, and it's a 5-star read. It was beautifully written and just terribly heartbreaking. I really feel for Jeanette, and I think she did an amazing job going back and really telling us her true thoughts on everything that she was going through with an abusive mother, with eating disorders, and with her acting career. So this one was really, really good, which means Kara, I really liked your second favorite book of the year. So that's good for Kara. Now let's see, Jenny's I'll Show Myself Out was 4 stars, and now this is 5 stars. So let's see how Noelle can do with Finding Me by Viola Davis. I am gonna pick this one up. I will likely listen to it. So I'll either start it tonight or tomorrow, just because after you read a book, you need to just like take some time. Am I right? Plus I have a really bad headache today. So I might just start this one rather soon though, and I will check in at the halfway mark and let you know how I'm enjoying Viola Davis's story. It is quite a few days later since I started Finding Me by Viola Davis, but I am now 2/3 of the way through and forgot that I needed to update you. But wow, another tragic memoir. Viola had a very, very hard upbringing with her sisters. Her parents, well, mostly her dad was abusive, and they grew up very poor, not having food, basically relying on the school lunch as their only meal for the day, and yeah, living in a condemned building. Yeah, it just was a very hard upbringing. And that was what I would say about the first third of the book. And then look at how cute she is in the back. Anyway, then we get to her going to college. She decides that she needs to get away and go to college, and she kind of makes it. She decides that acting is what she wants to do, even though she's really good in every single subject and class that she takes. She goes for acting and gets into Juilliard, and it's been a long day. Mabel had us up at 3 a.m. and never went back to bed. Anyway, gets into Juilliard, really finds who she wants to be as an actress. She finds that it's much easier to be a white actor and actress because they can play any role. But a black actor has to fit a certain character. They can't be a Russian spy. They can't, there's just, at least back when she was learning the craft. And so there's some great racism just in that little part of the arts. Anyway, she is just kind of getting her big break. Now she's being represented by a very large agent that like represents Tom Hanks and Macaulay Culkin, and so she is making it, and I'm excited to see what happens next. I think I would be much more enthralled by this memoir if I knew more of her work. I haven't really seen her in anything, and so I don't know her acting style or skills or anything about her, but she's really great, and my husband just threw a blanket on me. And yeah, great writer. She does a great job reading the book, and actually I think she just won a Grammy for the audiobook, so that's really cool. I am really enjoying it, and she has a very powerful voice and message to share about where you are and where you come from, and how that doesn't have to necessarily be who you turn out to be. The last third of Finding Me by Viola Davis just flew by. It is jam-packed with her acting career and how she makes it big. It was really, really good. I actually started tabbing some memorable quotes toward the end here, and I wrote them all in my reading journal. She just has some really powerful things to say about where you come from and how you can't forget where you come from. She had a very, very troubled past. I touched on that a little bit ago, and she doesn't want to forget that because, and she didn't want to necessarily get away from it either, because it formed her, it shaped who she was. It gave her the power to do what she wanted to do in order to become an actress. So it just was really good, and I was right. She did just receive a Grammy for her performance in reading the audiobook, and now she has an EGOT, Emmy, Grammy, Oscar, Tony. So that's really amazing, and I looked it up. She is the 3rd Black woman in all of history to have an EGOT, and I think like the 17th person overall to have an EGOT. So I gave this one 5 stars. It was really beautiful. And actually, I think the last third of it made me switch to a 5-star. It probably would have been 4 stars. But then, I don't know, the last third was just like, really had me hooked and is really making me want to watch definitely The Help, but I want to read the book first. And then also How to Get Away with Murder. And then she talked about her other big, that's kind of her big debut into film was The Doubt with Meryl Streep. So I am interested in looking into that one too. I think that one came out in 2008, I want to say. But yeah, just really, really beautiful. And this was Noelle's recommendation. Noelle last year wanted to read a memoir a month, and I think this was a part of that plan. And I am really, really glad it was one of her favorites, because then I was able to pick it up, and it was a really great memoir. Might be one of my favorite memoirs that I've read. So we've completed the first episode of my favorite Booktubers favorites, and let's just recap. I'll Show Myself Out from Jenny King was a 4-star. I'm Glad My Mom Died by Jeanette McCurdy, recommended by Kara from Kara's Bookshelf, was a 5-star. And Finding Me by Viola Davis, recommended by Noelle Gallagher, was a 5-star. And if I had to rank them, I think it would go like this, which was not what I was expecting. I think maybe I thought I'm Glad My Mom Died would be the best, and then maybe Viola Davis's would be the worst for some reason. I don't know why I thought that. Probably because I just don't know much about Viola Davis. But it was a phenomenal first experiment with reading my favorite Booktubers favorites. And my favorite Booktubers favorite, my favorite book of my Booktubers favorite, my favorite book of my favorite Booktubers favorites was this one in the memoir category. So way to go, Noelle. You won the memoir category. And I just dropped the book. But overall, just a really great look into some memoirs and essays. Now, like I said, this was episode 1 of my favorite Booktubers favorites. And I have the next episode planned, and I thought it'd be kind of fun to give you a little teaser. I'm not going to tell you the theme of it, because in the comments below, I would like you to try to guess the theme and then maybe try to guess which booktuber I am reading the favorite of. So the next video will include Red, White, and Royal Blue by Casey McQuiston, Notes on an Execution by Dania Kukafka, I Must Betray You by Ruta Sepetys, and Take My Hand by Dolan Perkins Valdez. I want you to guess what the theme is for these 4 books. What do these 4 books have in common? And then which favorite booktuber am I reading the favorite of? Comment down below with your thoughts. Anyway, thank you so much for watching this first episode of Favorite Booktubers Favorites. I hope you liked it. Subscribe to my channel if you would like to follow along on this 4-part series, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.